Hey everybody, and welcome to the real United States, and welcome to Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And we are here in front of Alice's Restaurant. Now, Alice's Restaurant isn't the name of the restaurant, that's just the name of the song, which is why the song is called Alice's Restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant was made famous in a song and later a movie. The song was written by singer-songwriter Arlo Guthrie, who went on in 1969 then to make a 68, 69, right in there, to make a movie called Alice's Restaurant about the song. Now, in the song, Alice and her husband Ray buy a restaurant here in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, but Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the bell tower with her husband Ray and Faustia the dog. But even at the time, it wasn't called Alice's Restaurant. I believe it was called The Back Door. Now it's called Theresa's, and Alice doesn't own this anymore. Remember Alice? There's a song about Alice. Anyway, it's not open today. It's largely a vegan menu. But since we were going to be in New England, I had to come and show you Alice's Restaurant, which is literally back in this little alley, which has been since dubbed Alice Avenue. So now we're going to try and show you a little bit of the rest of Stockbridge, Massachusetts. So I've waited literally 50 years, half a century, to say this. Let me tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts. It's got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. Now that probably was true in 1969 or 1966, but 50 years later in 2016, it's a thriving little community of shops. It's largely a tourist attraction. A lot of antique shops, restaurants, there's the general store, there's candle shops, those sorts of things that you would find in touristy kind of communities here in the United States, certainly in the northeastern United States here in New England. You can see the American flag hanging on the front of the store, something which we do here in the United States. We hang the flag every place. I know that people from around the world think it's a little strange, but it is culturally something that we do here. So this is a typical small town Americana. And we're right here on the main street, I mean literally in the center of Stockbridge. So in light of Alice's Restaurant's vegan menu, and I'm not a vegan, and well, that and the fact that it's closed, we've come to the front of the same building and to a little place called the Main Street Cafe. It's right about a block off the main corner of town, and it is in front of Alice's Restaurant. Beautiful little cafe with knotty pine wainscoting and a little tiny bit of a place. Bev wanted me to show you the steel coffee cups.
No, they're ceramic.
Oh, I guess they are ceramic after all. Adorable. Established in 1997. So we're going to have lunch here, and but I wanted to point out something interesting about this building in general, and essentially right above, as I understand it, right above Alice's Restaurant. In the upstairs in this building in the 1960s was a studio of a very famous American artist. And that artist, in fact, was none other than Norman Rockwell, who was working upstairs in this building, in the back, I guess, just above where Alice's Restaurant is today, and doing much of the very famous Americana, classic Americana scenes that you have seen, I'm sure, on magazine covers throughout the years. Well, since we were coming to Stockbridge, Massachusetts anyway, and we were going to talk about Alice's Restaurant, it would be unthinkable not to stop by the Old Mission Church, which Alice and her husband Ray owned at the time of the writing of the song, and of course at the time of the movie. This is now the Guthrie Center. Arlo Guthrie, and through his support and the charitable support of others, has turned this into a center for community good. They do all kinds of programs here. There are still some services held here on Sundays. It used to be just in the summer. Now I understand they do have a good heating system and they held Sunday services year round. It does a lot of community outreach things, whatnot. You can look that up on the web, the Guthrie Center. But this is the actual Old Mission Church that appears in the movie Alice's Restaurant, and is in fact the same church that Alice Brock bought in about 1958 or so for about $2,000, and she did live in the bell tower, her and her husband Ray, and it does appear it was used as part of the movie, although Alice doesn't personally appear in the movie. The woman that plays Alice in the movie is actually an actress by the name of Patricia Quinn, who looks a good deal like Alice, but isn't Alice. So anyway, this was the church that appears, and the final scene in the movie, if you've seen it, the very, very closing scene was shot right about where we are now, with Alice standing on the front porch, and a beautiful drifting shot as the chords of the famous song drift over, and then Arlo breaks into the chorus. So it's I wanted to bring you here and to share this with you. We're not going to do much else here, but I just thought this was, you know, it's kind of like hippie Mecca, you know. You got to visit it once in your lifetime. Okay, I know you're never going to believe this. I certainly wouldn't believe it if it hadn't just happened to me. Beverly and I were filming this short segment on the Old Mission Church, which is now the Guthrie Center, and I swear on my own life and the wife of my wife that Arlo freaking Guthrie walked out of the building, got in his SUV, and drove away right in front of us. And I didn't have the camera rolling. I suck. So I'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Real United States at downtown Stockbridge, Massachusetts, this sleepy little town on the western edge of the state of Massachusetts that is the home of the world famous Alice's Restaurant. I hope that you enjoyed your short tour here. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. We love hearing from all of you. I try to get back to everybody I can. And as always, thank you for watching.